Officers from the Tremonton Garland Police Department responded to reports of a disturbance in the area of 700 North and 200 East. This neighborhood sits just blocks from an elementary school and is usually considered a quiet part of town. As officers approached the scene around 9:30 p.m., the situation quickly escalated. According to early reports, a suspect opened fire on the responding officers, hitting at least 3. The immediate area went into lockdown as dispatchers lost contact with the initial units who called for backup but stopped responding to radio communication. That radio silence was one of the first signs that something had gone horribly wrong. The response was swift and massive. Agencies from neighboring Box Elder, Weber, and Cache counties rushed to assist. As first responders poured into the area, the scene was described by witnesses as chaotic. One resident said it felt like the biggest thing that's ever happened in Tremonton. Officers from the Tremonton Garland Police Department responded to reports of a disturbance in the area of 700 North and 200 East. This neighborhood sits just blocks from an elementary school and is usually considered a quiet part of town. As officers approached the scene around 9:30 p.m., the situation quickly escalated. According to early reports, a suspect opened fire on the responding officers, hitting at least 3. The immediate area went into lockdown as dispatchers lost contact with the initial units who called for backup but stopped responding to radio communication. That radio silence was one of the first signs that something had gone horribly wrong. The response was swift and massive. Agencies from neighboring Box Elder, Weber, and Cache counties rushed to assist. As first responders poured into the area, the scene was described by witnesses as chaotic. One resident said it felt like the biggest thing that's ever happened in Tremonton. Adding to the confusion, Brigham City Police, who took over the public information role for this incident, clarified that while 3 officers had indeed been shot, they could not confirm whether any had died. The delay in releasing confirmed details led to a wave of speculation on social media. However, law enforcement stressed that securing the scene, protecting the public, and handling the suspect safely were the top priorities in those early hours. The message from authorities was clear: avoid the area, stay inside, and let police do their job. By around 1:20 a.m., they announced that the suspect had been taken into custody and that there was no longer a threat to the public. So what do we know about the suspect? As of this recording, the individual has not been publicly identified. Officials have yet to confirm the suspect's motive, relationship to the disturbance, or whether they had any prior criminal record. What we do know is that they fired on police officers responding to a call, an act that instantly turned a routine response into a full-blown crisis. The suspect was reportedly captured after a significant tactical operation, and no additional suspects are believed to be at large. The investigation into their actions, background, and possible mental state is ongoing. Eyewitness accounts from residents paint a picture of a terrifying, surreal night. One local, Caleb Heyer, told reporters he heard gunshots and saw multiple police vehicles race toward the scene. He said it was the most intense thing he'd ever seen in Tremonton. At first, he stayed locked inside with his firearm, uncertain of what was going on. Later, he ventured out in search of answers. The sheer presence of so many officers, the sound of gunfire, and the fear in the air left many residents shaken. It's scary to see this kind of thing happen in our little, somewhat quiet town. He said, law enforcement agencies across the state are posting messages of solidarity and prayer, with flags being lowered and officers wearing black bands over their badges. The emotional toll on Utah's first responder community is immense, with many departments now reassessing their protocols for high-risk calls. Back in Tremonton, the investigation is now entering a more technical phase. Ballistic reports, body cam footage, 911 call recordings, and forensic analysis will all play a role in building a timeline of what happened. Investigators are working to determine exactly how the encounter escalated, how many rounds were fired, and whether any procedures could have been done differently. It's a painful but necessary process. Officials from multiple counties and possibly federal agencies are likely to be involved in this case due to the shooting of law enforcement personnel. Meanwhile, the public is demanding transparency. In the age of digital news and real-time updates, the delay in confirmed facts caused frustration. However, law enforcement leaders urge patience. Releasing accurate, verified information takes time, especially when lives have been lost or hang in the balance. Local officials are expected to hold a press conference in the coming days to provide more details. Until then, the community is left with unanswered questions and a deep sense of loss. For many, this tragedy marks a turning point in their perception of safety in their hometown. For the families of the officers involved, the days ahead will be filled with unimaginable grief. Whether any officers have officially passed has yet to be confirmed, but even injuries sustained in the line of duty can change lives forever. Counseling services, peer support, and statewide law enforcement resources are already being mobilized to help. Community members are also stepping up. Fundraisers, vigils, and support drives are being organized, and local businesses are offering help in whatever way they can. The town may be small, but the heart and unity being shown is enormous. Tremonton city leadership is also facing tough questions. The premature social media post from the mayor may have been well-intentioned, but it added confusion during a critical moment. In emergency situations, accurate communication is essential. The misstep has led to calls for better crisis communication protocols. That said, no one questions the mayor's sincerity or the city's commitment to honoring those who serve. Public trust, though shaken, can be rebuilt through openness, accountability, and consistent updates as the investigation progresses. Events like this often serve as a wake-up call, not just for law enforcement, but for communities. It highlights the real dangers police officers face daily, even in towns where violent crime is rare. It also brings up questions around training, response tactics, and community awareness. Should there be more resources for mental health crisis calls? How can civilians safely interact with law enforcement during such events? These are complex questions, and while there are no easy answers, they are essential to ask if we want safer communities for both citizens and officers alike. As we close this report, our thoughts are with all those affected. Tremonton is hurting, but it's also proving to be resilient. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more facts emerge. If you live in the area and need support, resources are being made available through local law enforcement and community organizations. If you want to support the families involved, stay tuned for verified donation links and support drives. And finally, if you appreciate in-depth, respectful coverage of important events like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates. Stay safe and be kind to one another. In the days following the incident, residents have begun placing flowers, flags, and handwritten notes near the police department and at the scene of the shooting. Small gestures like these carry enormous emotional weight. They're a reminder that despite the shock and grief, people care deeply for the individuals who put on a uniform to protect them. School counselors have also been made available for children in the area, especially at North Park Elementary, which is just steps from where the shooting occurred. Parents are grappling with how to explain the violence to their kids in a way that is honest but not frightening. It's a heartbreaking moment, but also one that shows just how tightly communities like Tremonton pull together in times of need. As we await further official updates, one thing remains clear. This tragedy will leave a lasting mark on Tremonton and the broader Utah law enforcement community. The story is still unfolding, and investigations like this can take weeks or even months to fully resolve. Authorities will be combing through every detail to ensure justice is served, policies are evaluated, and lessons are learned. For now, the focus remains on healing. Healing for the officers' families, for their colleagues who rushed into danger, and for a town that now carries the weight of a painful memory. We'll continue to follow this case responsibly and respectfully. Until then, stay informed, support one another, and remember, behind every badge is a human life.